It will shock you to know the cost of setting up a small cashew processing plant is the same cost of buying two LX600 2023 model of Lexus, the type Akpabio and his friends are sharing in the Senate. My name is Osai Derek Izedomen. I am running for governor of Edo State under the African Democratic Congress. I am here to say no. If we have to be Singapore, if we have to be Italy, if we have to be United Kingdom in 50 years' time, we must change the game.
What you are saying about now, all this is you're measuring, it's a pre-existing. It can't coming promising. What is the reason that you put not do exactly what you promised when you go get to that place?
Now I want to ask you a question. In Nigeria, as you said, all the factory, the schools, and other industrial, etc., you have good measure of. If you don't have a good roads, the electricity, how can you go with all these things good measure of?
Changing the narratives with Mr. B.
My name is Osai Derek Izedomen. I'm a son of teachers. I need your attention, please. Thank you. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to Pastor Usamu Jame for giving me the rare opportunity to speak to you. I am most honored. I also want to say thank you to everybody here. I want to acknowledge the love you all have for your state, in even giving me a minute to talk. Why am I here today? I'm here today to tell you a bit about myself and why I am running for governor. I am running for governor of Edo State under the African Democratic Congress. Now, that's the party of the handshake as you see on my cap. So, my story is like this. I grew up in Iyaro in Benin City. I attended Fabi Akpata Primary School. For some of you who know Benin very well. After which I went to Edo College. And then I went to University of Benin, where I studied petroleum engineering. After my petroleum engineering studies, I worked a bit in Lagos and I went to the UK. I was there for about 15 years. And then I was posted to Nigeria to join the management team of the company I was working for in the UK. And then I rose to become the managing director and country manager for that company. But all the time I was doing that, I was always going home to Benin to see my parents. So my dad is almost 96, my mom is in her 80s. They are, by God's grace, still alive. And I see the way things are going in Benin. Things are dilapidating, things are going bad. And I've been disturbed at this. So it comes to a point in a man's life, you have to do something that is beyond yourself. And I've looked at it, I have certain skill sets, certain capacity that God has endowed me with that I believe I should bring forth to serve my state. I could be doing 1 million other things, but I believe it's the time for me to come home and serve and transform that state and make it the way it can be. You know, if you look back some years, many of my big aunties here will remember Ogbemudia time. You see, he was in power for just 9 years, but he transformed Bendel State. His legacy is what we are still seeing today. From Ogbe Stadium to Ring Road to University of Benin to Auchi to Okbila Cement Factory to Bendel Fields and Flour Mill to Ethiopia. I can go on and on and on and on. Since Professor Ambrose Ali's time and General Samuel Ogbemudia's time, we have not really had transformational leaders. What we've been having are what I call accidental leaders and predatory leaders. Leaders who they were just handpicked and put in power. So you have a certain crop of people in Edo State today. They are not elected, but they have power. So they just sit down and choose, say, oh, it's your turn. You'll be the governor. And whether that guy is a moron, nobody cares. So when that guy gets there, what he does is to work for the self-interest of those people that put him in power. And that's why I call them predatory governments. They don't let the wealth of the people trickle down into development or infrastructure or anything at all. They share it amongst themselves. So what we are in this race to do is to put an end to that and say we can be better than that. We can do it differently. Now, the big parties, you see them in the news, they are fighting. They are fighting because of sharing formula, because If sharing goes wrong, that's when you hear about the fight. If it goes right, nobody talks about them. But I'm here to say, when you pick a child's property and you take it up and you hold it, at some point your hand will be tired. And when your hand is tired, you bring your hand down. And when that hand is down, the child will have his property back. So for Edo State, their hands are getting tired. And that hand will come down. And when it comes down, we, the people of Edo State, will take over. So I'm here for a special reason. I'm here to appeal to my brothers and sisters in diaspora. To make it clear, you already know, but I want to emphasize that you have power. In this very improbable race, this very interesting race that is coming in September, my brothers and sisters in this room, you have power. Why do you have power? If you look at the gross domestic product of Edo State, which is the metric to calculate wealth, a significant part of it is coming in through diaspora transfer, what you call remittances. And the diaspora remittances from Italy alone is significant. Now, the influence you have is, even though you are based in Italy, you have people you are supporting. Nigeria is hard these days. You buy 4 tomatoes for thousands of naira. You are feeling the impact. You are sending money down there. Your voice is what I came here to appeal for. I need that voice to say, Osakolo, we have been doing something for the last 30 years in a certain way. This year, we need to do it differently. Because, take your mind back. In the last 30 years, go to Benin City, what has transformed? Nothing. Just small here, red roof here, red roof there. We can do 10 times that. And the reason why we are not able to do it are multiple. I just talked about the godfatherism part of it. The other part of it that people go internationally to borrow. When they borrow money, they don't invest in things that will pay that loan or that will transform the state. They invest in their pocket. I give you a classic example. A classic example is, you have a certain governor called, say a guy who says the comrade governor. He borrows money from the international community, say 100 million. At the time he borrowed that money, the dollar to the naira is 250, 10 years ago. And then the new gentleman comes in and is the new governor. But when the first governor was borrowing the money, he has to do what they call sovereign guarantee, which is go to Abuja for Abuja to sign and say, this money, I will deduct it at source from your allocation before I send the balance to you in Benin. Now, that's the only condition the international man will give them, that $100 million. So they sign it, which is irrevocable, until you finish paying that loan. 10 years later, the new governor comes. Because that first governor did not invest in the things they should have invested in. They just spent a few red roofs here, one gutter here, one gutter there. The new governor comes, dollar has moved to 1,500, which is 6 times what it was before. So you find out that the interest rate that the former governor was paying, if it was 10 million, is now paying 60 million. So the new governor doesn't have resources to do anything. And he looks at it and says, oh, let me go carry this load, I beg, not consign me. He starts sharing the balance or doing whatever he likes with it. I am here to say, no, we cannot do that. If we have to be Singapore, if we have to be Italy, if we have to be United Kingdom, in 50 years' time, we must change the game. I can be doing many other things, as I said, but I've been around. My job has taken me to Norway, Italy, Germany, Holland, United States, United Kingdom, Ghana, Egypt, South Africa. I have seen, just like most of you here have seen, we can do better. So what I'm trying to do is bring in a crop of leaders that can perform and deliver for our people. But we all know there is politics and there's governance. We are in the political season. Before you get from politics to governance, within our people, they call chuku plenty for there. There's a lot of minefields. And one of those minefields is, how do you beat the big parties? And a lot of people have been saying, oh, they are too big. It's PDP, it's APC, it's Labour. Now, those parties are big, yes, but they are not insurmountable. Let's not be deceived. Let's not despair. Let's not doubt. I understand, and I come from the school of philosophy, that power belongs to 2 poles. Those with the money and those with the people. And anytime they meet in the political arena, those with the people always win. As long as the people are convinced and they believe change is due and they want change. So my brothers and sisters, my mommies and fathers, my message here is that time for change is now. Now, because we cannot continue, it is too critical for us to continue like this. In this room, many of us know, if I ask the question, if APC or PDP goes into power today, do we really expect any change? It's almost impossible. What they've not changed for 30 years is not going to happen. Even the so-called Labour, they are a mixture of people that have jumped from party to party to party. So I don't want to even call up party. Let's focus on the people. So anybody that calls you from Nigeria or is coming here to appeal to you for their votes, please ask them how. I have the how, and I'll share my manifesto when the time comes. But I want to mention a key point, what we intend to do. Our philosophy, our manifesto stands on what I call the RAISE agenda. RAISE, Rural Revitalization for R, Agriculture for A, Industrialization for I, Infrastructure for another I, Security for the S, and Excellence for the E. At the core of this is agriculture, industrialization, infrastructure, and security. Why do I say security? Security is key because without it, we can do nothing. I've been to Benin. I traveled to Auchi the other day. I can see how difficult it is for any businessman to come and invest in Edo State. I have to carry Mopo, 2 trucks for front, 2 for back. You know, how can we continue like that? The average Joe, even my reverend in Benin, some years ago, he was kidnapped going to minister in Ewu. He shot his car, bullet holes. I saw it. He showed me the car. He's lucky to be alive. So we want to focus on security. First, to pacify the state, to make sure people can go to farm. If people can go to farm, this current situation of food insecurity or hunger, it will reduce. I know that because I have a farm myself. I had to go and set up a farm as a pilot program to understand farming. And I know what we can do differently. The olden days farming that we are doing, that is past, where we have to wait for rain to fall before we farm. My farm is fully irrigated. We don't need to wait for rain. We farm 365 days of the year, solid. So, to go back to security is that without security, farmers cannot go to farm. I was talking to my cousin the other day, who is from Esan land. He normally will be farming in the bush, the proper farm that is fertile, but now he's farming around the village house. I say, why? He said, because if you go there, they will kidnap you. And some people have died. So we want to bring in first-class technology. With a few $1,000s today, we know we can get some drones from Europe or United States into Edo State that can fly those bushes with thermal imaging camera. Even if there's a cock or a chicken in the bush, from their body heat, we'll find them. Once we find them, we know where they are, we monitor their movement. We are going to establish a special team of police forces called farm rangers. We will equip them, pay their insurance, give them ballistic vests to go there, storm the bush, and smoke these bad guys out. And then we come to the city and take care of the issue of cultism. That is an economic problem. We have the formula for that. So security sits above all these things. Once we can solve security, farming can start, businessmen can come to Edo State to invest. But the most important one I want to add to that one, apart from agriculture, you know, we've been doing agricultural work for years. But what we don't do is we do not add value to what we farm. We sell it with little value. I'll give you a classic example. A friend of mine has a cashew farm in Lagos. I've been there myself. Now, at the farm gate, these Vietnamese and Indians, they come with their shops, they buy fresh cashew. Edo State have some of the best cashew nuts in the whole of West Africa, by the way. Esak or Oma. I've been there to see. Now, they come there, they buy cashew nuts. Last season, they were buying 600,000 naira per ton. 600,000 naira per ton, which is about $350. They buy it. They take it to Vietnam, process it. Do you know how much they sell it in America? After they process it, Edo State cashew, between $10,000 to $12,000 per ton. Let's say $10,000. So you see the $9,650 value is taken away. That's the money that should be sinking waterboard in Benin City. The money that should be sorting out 5 junction erosion. The money that should be putting our kids to school. The money that I can use to bring Luigi from Milan to set up a shoe training institute. So my brothers and sisters can make high quality Italian shoes. Like Luigi is doing in Italy. I will bring him, pay him for a year. Pay him his holiday money to be traveling 3 times every year. Set up the institute at ICE. Train me 50 Nigerians that will make high quality shoes, international standard. So that those guys can train more. And before you know it, you become an industrial hub of shoe manufacturing. These things it's not rocket science, trust me. If you have the will and the passion, you can do it. So what I'm trying to say here is that We need to think out of the box. If I go to the cashew nut story, I then call China to understand how much it will cost to set up that factory in Edo State. It will shock you to know the cost of setting up a small cashew processing plant is the same cost of buying two LX600 2023 model of Lexus, the type Akpabio and his friends are sharing in the Senate. That's cheap. That plant I'm talking about can process, listen, that plant I'm talking about can process 10 tons of cashew and turn it to 2.5 tons of processed cashew. If you set it up well, I've done the mathematics, I have it in my book, you can produce from that small cashew factory $30,000 to $50,000 every month return on investment, turnover. $30,000 to $50,000 every month, which means in just 18 months or less, you can pay that factory off and you begin to be positive, begin to make profit. That factory, my friend's factory, is employing 110 people. 80% of them are women. So you can see the multiplier effect that you can create when you create those kind of small cottage industries. I can go on and on and on and on. But the point I'm trying to make is agriculture is not enough on its own. We need to put industrialization or factories close to the agriculture so that we can add value to our agriculture. The same thing with cassava, for example. If you get cassava plant, processing plant, if you get a cassava processing plant near a cassava cluster where people farm cassava, there is sorbitol, there is starch, there is industrial starch. Panadol that we eat today, 80% of it is industrial starch, but we import it from abroad and we have it in cassava. So if you put that cassava processing plant in the Yekorion, for example, for those of us in the south, you will see that a lot of cassava farmers will come around that area because they know their cassava will be sold to this farm and will be sold for good money. You know, so these are the kind of things we want to do. We have plans for healthcare, we have plans for education. For the sake of time, I will not want to keep you, but you get the picture. The picture is that it's time for us to do things differently. It's time for us to try somebody else. You know, it's time for us to raise the game. I am tired, just like you, of the sorry state of things. I want people at home to be self-sustaining so that the pressure on you will reduce. The pressure on you must reduce. So I want to appeal to you. They will tell you that if you vote for a party like ADC, forget the party now. Focus on the individual. They will tell you if you vote for Derek, it's a vote waste. Please appeal to people to waste their vote. If you waste it on me, we will win. If you waste it on me, we will change the game for Edo State. I am prepared. I didn't come here just to talk. I prepared for this with 15 years of my life. I know every detail. The numbers, the detail, I am prepared. It's just that the big parties will not give you the opportunity to perform. So brothers and sisters, I thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank Pastor for the rare opportunity to be on this platform to talk. And I want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for even listening to me, because I know you are listening because of the love you have for our state and the love you have for our country. I sincerely appreciate it. I thank you, and may God bless all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you.
My brother, there's a question I want to ask. My name is Tom. I heard all you have said so far. Now I want to ask you a question. In Nigeria, as you said, all the factory, the shoes, and other industrial, etc., you have big pressure of. If you don't have a good roads, the electricity, how can you go with all these things big pressure of? Because I believe in Nigeria, we don't have a good road now, and no electricity. There are some areas now for 2 years that there's no electricity. So how can all those things be functional?
I just want to tell you two of the things. Punctuality is all of business. If you look even at that here now, it's like 10:50. It's member of this church. And how many of us are here now? Who came late? And so that is the person they are talking about. Then, what you are saying about now, all these things you're measuring, it's a big existing. You can't coming promising. What is the reason that you don't do exactly what you promised when you go to that place?
Thank you. I would come back to you, please, but I need to first of all sincerely apologize. It should be the first thing I should have done. I was too much in a hurry to talk. From the bottom of my heart, I apologize to you, mommy. I am very sorry. I can explain a little bit what happened. The flight from UK this morning is 6:10. We were supposed to be here, I think, before 9 o'clock, but they delayed it. And even when we got here, there was a slow in the taxi to the arrival hall. And also, we had some hitches with our car rental, you know. And then by the time we drove here, we had planned to stop at Tivoli, a whistle stop at Tivoli branch. That took a little longer. So by the time we finished at Tivoli, coming here, that was a challenge. I won't lie to you, I've not been to Italy before. We lost our way coming. So, sorry, mommy. Please, forgive me. Please. Okay, now, sorry everybody, sorry gentlemen, forgive me. Now, to the point on manifesto. There is a manifesto already. I have an abridged version. We are having a manifesto launch this month. So I don't want to preempt the manifesto. We have an abridged version in electronic copy. I will share with Pastor. So you can look at it. But I tried to talk through it just now. I think I talked about race, rural revitalization, agriculture, industrialization, infrastructure, security, and excellence. So those are the core. But I will share the electronic copy here. Thank you. Now, to my dear brother there, you talked about a very important point. How can you go with factories and all these things without the necessary infrastructure? If you look at my manifesto when it comes to you and what I've been saying earlier, I understand that point very well. And that's why I put it in that order. You know, I put infrastructure as a core leg of our table. Because I know without the necessary infrastructure, you cannot get the food from the farm gate to the factory. You cannot get the processed food from the factory to the warehouse, to the port, to the international airport or seaport. So it is fundamental. You can't even do anything without power. And that's why if you look at Edo State today, we stand on some of the largest gas reserves in Nigeria per capita, Orion and Edo South. So what we want to do is to work with those oil companies that are already there to get that gas out of the ground, the way they did for Osiomo. So we want to do Osiomo 2, Osiomo 3 to provide power to these industrial clusters that we want to create. So there are 3 industrial clusters we are bringing. One by the Benin City bypass, one in Abudu, and one in Sabongida Ora for specific reasons. We also are bringing farm clusters around Igwebe, and potentially long term we are looking at a cargo airport at Igwebe area, because you have the Warri Itakpe railway line that traverses Edo from south to north, from Orion side coming from Delta State through all the way to Auchi. So that railway line, we're going to work with federal government to have a spur line to Igwebe to be able to bring goods to those clusters. So there's a clear plan for infrastructure, I assure you. Yeah, it's just for us to get there and execute. And that's why I'm saying there is politics and there's governance. Between politics and governance is difficult. And that's why I'm here to solicit your help, your appeal. If you call 10 people and talk to them at home, those are votes that can put us in power. And I assure you we will not let you down. I am a different politician. I have no godfather. Okay? No, not one. I make bold to say nobody is sponsoring me. Everything I'm doing today is my savings. There's nobody supporting me. And people, friends like you, that are donating to support me. And that's why I'm not going to be like the old guys, the past, where when they get into power, the first thing they want to do is to serve their godfathers. Because I said those godfathers are not elected people, but they have power. They just put people on the seat so that those people will serve them. That's not what I'm about. I'm about service to the people. I want to be a servant leader, and by God's grace, we will deliver for you. Thank you very much.